Alright guys, the next video is going to be on the charge port, wrapping the charge port. Now, I know I'll end up getting comments about this. Yes, this can be removed. You know, if it comes off, you can get to it from the back. There's screws, it comes out, etc. Not a big deal to take off. I choose not to take it off. It's one of these things where, like, for example, on the Model Y, the plastic that protects this area is super rigid. I don't see the feasible way of getting tools in there. You also have to disconnect the main power to the car, which I don't really want to do. I think about it a lot, to be honest. It's something that in the beginning I didn't do because I was a little bit naive and I thought it was going to be like a much bigger deal than it actually was. And then now it's like I haven't done it up until now, and it comes out really good. So I look at it as just not really necessary to do. So I'm going to show you guys how to wrap in here. Again, as you know from my other videos, I'm just getting some of this adhesive off. But basically, we want to start by cleaning in and around this whole area. And you kind of saw me how I lifted up the charge port. Sorry, I was talking while I did that. So, charge port default is here. If you pull it up to roughly about here, it'll stay up. And you know that it's going to stay up because the light is not on here. So that's how you know that you've got it up and it's going to stay up. So you want to you're trying to pull it up halfway, and it'll shut on you a couple times, but just pull it, keep trying, and eventually you'll get it into like maintenance mode is what I kind of think of it, even though of course that's not really what it is. I'm just using soap here to get the rapid remover off that I was just using. I like to use soap before coming in with the alcohol. Don't ask me why, I don't have any real reasoning for it. But yeah, that's my logic, so that's why I don't remove it. If you want to remove it, more power to you. You can do this all as one piece, and it's it's going to come out the same, slightly cleaner, but we are really splitting hairs because if you do this right, it comes out looking super clean. You hide 99% of the original color, overwhelming majority of it. So these are the logical reasons why I kind of decide not to remove something. Everything else I remove because it helps me it's either going to help the wrap last longer, it's going to help the wrap look better, it's going to make it significantly easier. Those are the things that I ask myself before I decide whether or not I'm going to remove hardware or not. So I don't just remove everything for no reason. There's thought behind these things. The charge port, I haven't personally found a reason to remove it. I've never had anyone complain about how this looks, so I'll probably always do it this way. But this is just to get ahead of those that are gonna... I get people that send me YouTube links to removing the charge port as if like I don't know how to do it and I don't have access to all of Tesla's service manuals, and I'm just like, yo, come on now. This isn't my first rodeo. So some things we want to do to prep. Oh, look at that. Came up anyway, so I get to show you this again. So maybe I didn't do it the right way. You don't want that light to come on. It looks sketchier than it is. It's not. I've never had an issue. There we go. No light. Oh, there's the light. Then it doesn't want to shut now. So, all right. This isn't too big a deal for the purpose of what we're doing here. If it shuts and you have to keep opening it, it's not the end of the world. When we wrap the main piece, I'll show you guys how to do car wash mode to get this to stay down the whole time. But for the purpose of doing this inlay, not the biggest deal. So now I am coming in with the alcohol, and I'm just really getting kind of the main areas that we're going to be wrapping here. Making sure everything is clean. A little bit of paint coming off right here. This car's been a bit of a challenge. It was wrapped by someone else, then the wrap was removed by someone that didn't do the wrap, which, as you can imagine, they probably really didn't give a shit about anything because they didn't make the money from the original wrap. So to them, it's probably just an annoying thing to have in the shop. They left all the adhesive on here, and it's been pretty bad. So, yeah, fun times. Cleaning is very important. Make sure you guys can see all this. We're going to use knifeless tape in here. And basically the knifeless tape is going to go on this body line right here. And just like with the door handles, you know, if you're nervous, you want to err on the side of caution, have this be closer to the edge that's closer to this rather than the edge that's closer to this, just to avoid any overhang or anything like that. So here's what this looks like. I take my knifeless tape and I start in the center point. So what I mean by that is I will take out enough knifeless tape here to know that I have enough length there. And then I will start in the center, and this looks like this. Get this down, work this top edge first. So I still got some alcohol in here somewhere because my knifeless is doing, it's not wanting to stick, but that's okay. Get that in there, and we're going to cut this. We only need about 2 or 3 inches. I'll show you what this looks like on the back after we do this part. This part's a little tricky. So how I like to think about this is I'm pulling the knifeless tape kind of almost towards me as I'm trying to feed it down into this gap right around this turn, because this is the part where the tape kind of doesn't want to go in here. So I'm kind of pulling to get tension. And then at the same time kind of feeding it around. This will take some, you know, getting used to. If it lifts up on you in this gap, that's fine. We're gonna go back and basically post heat it, and it'll stay down. Get this edge as cleanly as possible. Stepping back and taking a look at it helps with kind of making sure that you're staying on point. And then also shutting the lid and looking at it. If you get fingers or you get anything in here, let's see if I can bring you in for this. Yeah, you'll be able to see this, perfect. So if you get fingers or anything in here, like we did on the door handle video, just come in here with some heat, and this will start to shrink. Make sure that you're not heating it too much because the filament will kind of burst through. You'll have to start over, but like that. This actually came out really nice. It's tough to get this to match with this, to get this in here like this. This came out very, very nicely, so I'm happy with that. Let's take a look and see what we do on the back. So I'll show you what this quarter looks like, just so you can kind of get an idea why we're doing it this way. So what I'm gonna do here is I want to bring this around and kind of follow, I guess in theory it doesn't really matter. We just want to keep it, on a body line so it looks somewhat natural. So something like that is fine. You can always go back in here and clean this part up with your knife after the fact. It's not the biggest deal. The piece for this, I usually cut about 9 inches wide by 12 inches long. And then we're gonna see kind of what I do here. I wanna make sure this is gonna cut. All right, so what I'll do, I wanna make sure this looks good up here. It looks pretty clean up there. All right, so what I do is I take my knife and I'll kind of look at this curve right here and, you know, look with my piece, and I'll kind of like try to cut, I'll almost try to trace that pattern. But you want to be a little bit slimmer than this, so you have some room. That makes sense. So something like this. So that's kind of what we cut out, and you can see what we're going to be doing, because we need to get around this arm. Just give this a little dry wipe. And then we're ready to go. So how this works is I peel the whole thing off. First thing I want to get around the back here, move down position, come around the bottom part, and that's exactly how we want it to look. And I'll zoom in here so you guys can kind of get an idea of what's going on.